Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? I'm gonna make a quick video and then another more Christmassy video soon here. Pretty sure I don't need to talk much with my subscribers. I try to have my subscribers increasingly, my subscribers actually pretty much do this themselves. My subscribers tend to have more in common with me than not, increasingly, but yeah, those that feel like they're not like me, they seem to not want to subscribe to me sometimes. So I don't ever have to do anything like that on my end. So the point of this video, I keep getting comments on YouTube videos, others, mainly, of course, that so many people seem to think that whatever goes as being good or evil in terms of what society thinks is good or evil these days, whatever goes for good and evil these days, people seem to think that it's always been that way, or that we should always judge people in the past by what we think are good and evil today. Now let me just also mention something else here. I'm not talking about the Ten Commandments. I'm not talking about standards that have actually been in existence since the beginning of time. That's not what I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about, again, I'm not talking about the Ten Commandments. I'm not talking about any of that stuff, or anything, commandments in the Quran, whatever you guys, all the religious stuff. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about societal norms. Specifically, again, I have to point this out: racism versus homosexuality, or if those two subjects, because we're going to compare them. I keep hearing stuff about Walt Disney being anti-Semitic and a bunch of other stuff. Walt Disney was no different than a lot of folks when he was alive. The civil rights era changed everything. And so people are talking about how Walt Disney was anti-Semitic. Well, what does that mean exactly? Does anti-Semitic mean that it means that you hate Jews, right? Or whatever, mainly. But it doesn't mean that you're killing them. It doesn't mean that what does it mean? It all depends on what you do about how you feel. If you never do anything, or you never say anything, or you never act on those desires of being anti-Semitic, so what's the problem? Well, the problem, you can still be nicer and kinder to Jews and not be anti-Semitic, but that's something that is not a societal issue at that point. That's just an internal issue, and goodness knows how many people have had that issue in the past. I mean, a heck of a lot of people. I'm a composer, and so I know about this stuff. We all know that Wagner was anti-Semitic, even though he had Jewish friends. So how does that work out? So if you have friends that are Jewish and you're anti-Semitic, so people don't really understand this issue a lot of times. They don't even understand what it means to be anti-Semitic, and like the psychology of people have felt this way at times. And Wagner himself was even had some Jewish, maybe mostly German, but Disney was Jewish. He was Jewish. How can I know what you guys are thinking. I'm about to mention the H-man, right? Well, Hitler, yeah. So he's the one we compare everybody to ultimately, and he was the one that killed a whole bunch of Jews. But Wagner's anti-Semitism, not even close. Disney's anti-Semitism, not even close. None of those guys killed anybody. They maybe did other things. Wagner's probably thought of it in worse terms, in terms of his ethics and personality and morality, whatever, than Disney. Disney is much better, man. But again, I keep getting these comments, or response to comments, thinking that just because most people thought a certain way in the past, it's like this disconnect. I mean, do I really have to to mention this to grown adults, that people in the past thought differently in general about a lot of subjects. Let's take homosexuality. These days, homosexuality, no problem. Societally, we're trying to protect you guys legally in all the respects. That's the trend, right? Not always the case, right? In the past, it was really bad, and there was a time when you stoned homosexuals, and that was according to the law of Moses and all this stuff. Yeah, some people think, oh, this is progress. We're making progress. No, it's not progress. It's just a different time, different era. Like, if you were gay in the past, you probably kept that to yourself, man. Tchaikovsky kept his homosexuality to himself, largely. That was not a fun cross for him to bear. But this is the 1800s, mid-1800s, late 1800s in Russia and stuff. And I'm like, do you guys think that Russia has been, in the past, has been very intolerant of homosexuality? No. And it's also not only a historical thing, it's also a geographical or cultural thing. How many people do you think that are gay in the Middle East in the past felt comfortable mentioning they're gay? Or even, sheesh, nowadays, right? So, and how many people actually take this all into account when they're considering the subject? Surprisingly, not too many. It's ridiculous, folks. I really, I know my subscribers probably don't fall into this trap of assuming that everybody has to be judged by our modern definitions of what's right and wrong in a societal sense, not necessarily in a religious sense. Because the religious stuff, it's different, I just don't like getting these comments over and over again. I have to wonder about the intelligence of some of these folks, the awareness of some of these folks. Like how many people are just kind of duped into thinking a certain way. And the funny thing is, some people actually have the audacity online, even if they don't know you, to assume something about you in terms of their own opinions about the subject. People don't know who I am, but you guys have seen my videos quite a bit, probably have a better idea. So it goes without saying, obviously I am not anti-Semitic, just because I mention this stuff. But some people, again, are boneheaded enough to make that assumption. Boneheaded! That's an understatement. That's the understatement of the century. And then some people also don't understand where I stand on a number of issues. They want to assume stuff because these hot button topics just make people go nuts. Well, I'm not going nuts. I'm not judging historical figures or people that even were alive 30 years ago, 20 years ago, that died, just an earlier generation. I'm not judging them by our modern whatever in the United States. That's not what I'm doing at all. In fact, I'm probably one of the last people that would do that. Anyway, I think I made my point in this video. I'm about to go have an I'm about to go have a H&R Block appointment. That's not very fun. Maybe that's contributing to this a little bit, this intensity. Wish me luck, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Leave me thoughts and comments below. Catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.